G'day fellas and welcome to the future of Age of Empires 4. Today we talk about free-for-all in Season 7. And you might be thinking, but Jongo, they've had free-for-all for a long time. I just go to the multiplayer menu and I just click custom and it's in there, right? FFA Nomad. I'm just gonna go play that. Well, guess what? Guess what, friend? You're not gonna have to do that anymore. You're just gonna click quick match and it's gonna be right here as a game mode. You're gonna click enable and you're just gonna go search for a game. You're gonna get matched up against people that are in a similar skill bracket to you because it's gonna be tracking your rating behind the scenes. Even though you don't get a rank, you're still gonna have a rating. In this video, we're going to be talking about that rating system. We're going to be talking about the ladder. We're going to be talking about when FFA is going to be available to play and what the rules are going to be and everything you need to know. This is going to be part of a series of videos that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing an FFA tier list. We're going to be doing a strategy guide for FFA and just a general way that you should think about the game and the way that you want to play because the rules are different to what you're used to. So let's get into it, starting off with our timing. So at the moment, the ranked season, at least for me, has got 1 day, 3 hours and 22 minutes left. By the time this video goes live, it will have 18 hours left. From there will be 36 hours before before the next ranked season goes live. So just let me explain it a little bit here. So March 20, 12 p.m. PT, that is going to be when ranked season 7 kicks off. Okay, but that is different from when FFA is available. So I suspect that FFA will be available between that time frame because normally the way that it goes is the season ends and then the patch drops and then the next ranked season begins. So whenever that patch drops is when you're going to be getting the ability to do FFA, and that's what we care about. In this season, we don't care about, I'm Conqueror 2 at the moment. I was Conqueror 3 at the highest point. I don't care about that for the next season. All I care about is FFA because that is where the fun is really going to begin. So you can expect to be able to play FFA, I would suggest in about 24 hours, by the time this video goes live, 24 hours after this video goes live. Sorry, I just had to think about it a little bit because 24 hours and then it'll be 36 hours when the next ranked season starts. So anyway, that's going to be it for timing. Let's talk a little bit about what you can expect in FFA when it comes to the leaderboard. So when it comes to the leaderboard for Age of Empires 4, you have ranks in the game that you're able to see and compare. When it comes to FFA, you're not going to be able to see people's ranks. You're going to do a quick match. You're going to click this little button here, and you're going to be put into a lobby with 7 other people, and you're not going to see rankings. You're not going to see ratings. You're not going to see anything like that. You're not going to know how good these guys are, how bad these guys are, or whether these guys are teamed up. That's correct. Well, I say teamed up, but I want to really emphasize this point. If you are playing FFA and you're queuing up with friends, which you can do, that is absolutely fine. If I wanted to invite Faye, if I wanted to invite Divine and say, hey guys, let's play FFA together, we can do that, and we can queue up. I just want to make that very, very clear. That is possible. But I just want to say, as a general rule, and if you want to just keep it ethical, try not to team up, okay? If you guys spawn next to each other, fight each other, don't build your bases together, okay? Not very, very nice to be doing that. So definitely you can queue up with friends, you can have fun with friends, but don't team up. It's not in the spirit of FFA, all right? And I'd be upset if I heard that you guys were doing that. So don't do that, all right? But anyway, yes, you will be able to queue up with up to 3 friends, so it'll be a total of 4 people, and you guys will be put into the same lobby. So I do kind of like that because I understand where they're coming from because to me it makes sense. But look, that's a whole nother topic. That's the way it is. Maybe in the future, who knows, they'll do a ranked free-for-all option and then that will just be solo, right? Like, because you look at ranked here, you've got solo, you've got team, maybe they'll have like solo and then you could choose whether you want solo FFA or solo, and then from there it's like you can only queue up and maybe make it a bit more competitive in that regard. But obviously that's season 8, season 9 sort of stuff. We'll focus on season 7 for now. So when it comes to how to check your skill for FFA, if you go onto the Age of Empires website, you'll be able to access the community tab. I think it's through here on a game, community tab, and then stats, and then Age of Empires 4, and then onto leaderboards. And they've got a whole bunch of leaderboards for different things. So here we've got quick match ELO for 1v1. They've got quick match ELO for 3v3, and there's just going to be another drop-down menu that will be for FFA. And then when you click that, that will have ELO. It will show you the win rate of the player, how many games they've played, of course, their streak. It's just going to look identical to this, except it's going to be for free-for-all, which is pretty cool. I like that, and it definitely means people that are going to be very competitive in free-for-all, people like Beastie, will be able to track, am I number 1, that sort of thing. That's an important question, right? Like, we want to know how high up on the ladder we are, so you'll be able to do that here, and that excites me a lot. Now, with regard to rule changes, there's going to be some different rules that are going to be in FFA that you might not have seen before if you're just in here playing regular FFA Nomad. One of the big ones that is going to be making a difference here is going to be the addition of a Monarch. Now, I can't jump in and show you what a Monarch looks like at the moment, but I can show you this game from Outback Octagon 2, which happened about, I think it was about 10 months ago now, and here you can see why a Monarch can be so detrimental, but at the same time, so exciting for free-for-all games. Now, I'm not going to put the sound on for you because I get a little bit excited here. We can see the Monarch is denoted by this little crown above their head, and it's so important that you keep them alive because this is a victory condition, but it's also an elimination condition. In the new FFA game mode, if you lose your Monarch, you will lose the game. You will just be eliminated. That will be it. There's no discussion about it. There's no, oh, but I had 2 landmarks. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether your Monarch is alive. And we can see how important that is here as Anatan is trying to keep that king alive, making Core run the absolute gauntlet here, and somewhat baiting him quite well here. And this was definitely a game-winning move here, but obviously this is a more advanced strategy. I wouldn't expect that when you're playing FFA, you're going to need to do what Anatan has done here and set up a gauntlet of keeps together with wooden walls. I reckon you can probably just put a keep down in the back of your base and throw a stone wall around it. That's really important because it means that units like these horsemen aren't going to be able to burn it down. When you've got a stone wall, they're going to need a battering ram, they're going to need bombards, they're going to need trebuchets, they're going to need something to get through that. And that just allows a little bit more protection. So we can see the importance of having that Monarch safe in the back of the base always. But let's talk about some of the other rule changes. We've already gone over this before. One of the other things to mention is that we've got map pools for ranked in team games. We've also got a map pool for FFA. My understanding is that FFA games will be played on standard maps. Normally, when we played Nomad FFA, that would be done on Mega Random, which is one of our lovely maps somewhere down here. Where are you, Mega Random? These are not in alphabetical order. Are you serious? Come off it. Come off it. How could you look at this? You've got African waters, then migration. There's Mega Random right there, which we obviously haven't downvoted. I wish we could downvote every map except for Mega Random. I think technically you probably could if you're playing with 4 people. Actually, no, you can't. I think it's only the party leader who can do the downvoting now. Yeah, so you'd be used to playing FFA on Mega Random. Now it's just going to be FFA on every single map, which I think is going to be quite interesting. You know, imagine FFA on forts. No, how about this? Don't imagine FFA on forts. That's disgusting. But some of these might be good, like Mongolian Heights. I reckon that could be a pretty decent FFA map. But it's also important to note that when you're queuing up for FFA, you can technically queue up for Empire Wars and Standard at the same time, and it'll just throw you into whichever one pops first, right? Like right now, I can literally queue up for all of these at the same time and just search, and whichever one it finds, hey, we reckon that you would fit perfectly into this game right here. Your rating matches up wonderfully, and we've got a slot open, then boom, it will do that. And that could be a 1v1, it could be a 4v4, and you'll have that option here with FFA, which I do like as well. It makes it easy, and you just kind of go, all right, well, whatever we get, and oh, look, it's a Nomad 3 versus 3, that sort of thing. But let's talk a little bit about some of the rules that you're going to be seeing in FFA. So one of the big things is that they're going to be increasing the amount of villages that you get when you start from 3 up to 5. This is great because it means that you're going to start the game a little bit faster. It also means that you've also got more options. So typically when you do a Nomad game, so if we go jump into a skirmish game right now, let's turn the advanced game settings off. We'll just do a Nomad game here. It might take a little bit of time because I've got, well, I don't actually have 8 players. I've just got a big map. We'll just put 2 players in here. And what's going to happen is it's going to spread your villages out all over the map. And by having more villages, basically that means that you've got more options to start from. It means that, hey, I've got the bottom left-hand corner and the bottom right-hand corner, that sort of thing. We'll take a look here on this map. So I've got 3 villages, and they're all relatively close together. Whereas if I've got 5 villages, then maybe I've got one that's up here, maybe I've got one that's over here, and that gives me a little bit more option because, as you can see with the line of sight around you, you can see resources if you've got any near you. So naturally, what I'm going to be doing is looking to bring all my villages in towards the middle so we can get that town center up, and hopefully along the way, I'll see some resources and go, oh, this looks like a good spot. You know, whether that's gold, whether that's a little bit of food. Food's always really nice to have. But as you can see, we don't really find too much. We've got a sheep here, and oh, there's a couple of sheep here. You know what? We could probably build our town center on a sheep. It looks like an absolutely terrible location, but we'll take it. And there you go. So with 5 villages, it's going to mean that this town center is built faster. It's going to mean that your options are a little bit greater when it comes to your start. But hopefully these sheep don't you guys go too far. That's the reason we built you here. I'm just kidding. We're not going to play this game out, even though we'd absolutely love to. So the starting distance has also been increased. As we saw in that last game, my villages were all pretty close together when you consider that was a large map. They were all smack bang together in that kind of like south, central, east side, that sort of thing. And now all of a sudden, they're going to be a little bit further apart, which is great because it's going to give you more options. And the more options you've got, I think that means more variability in spawns overall for players, which mean better games, because we don't want everyone stacked up on top of each other, which does happen quite a lot in free-for-all. On top of that, it means that you've also, well, the next change is that we've got the HRE Prelate, Juicy Legacy Official, which should be Imperial Official, and the Mongols Gur are granted upon town center construction and not at the start of the match. This is a really nice change, and it means that if you're playing the Holy Roman Empire, that you're not going to have the ability to just heal up your villagers while they're fighting. Or if you're playing with the Juicy Legacy, it means that you're not going to have a free extra unit that's out on the field until you've got that TC being constructed. But I will say this is a pretty big bonus to the Juicy Legacy, and I'm not sure if they've realized this. The fact, if they get 5 villages and also get their Imperial Official, they're going to be pretty well ahead in the early game. But I guess the HRE will probably be pretty ahead as well, just mainly because these 2 civilizations do get fewer villages than other civilizations. So keep that in mind. And then the Gur also granted upon TC construction. On top of that, we've also got the English villager bows and the Chinese villager build speed bonus being deactivated at the start of the game. So this means that if you manage to play the English or roll the English, because remember that when it comes to free-for-all, it's very common that players do a random civilization. You don't have to do that. So I'm not going to say, hey, gentlemen's rules, we should all be randoming. No, it's okay. You play whatever civ you like. I'm not going to get fussy at you, but I will get fussy if you start teaming up with your friends. That's going to make me annoyed. But yeah, other than that, though, this is a really good change. It means that you're not going to have too many issues in the early game with English players because until their TC comes up. And then on top of that, we've also got the villager speed or villager build speed, which has been reduced or deactivated at the start, but it comes back when the TC is constructed. Another thing to note is that we've got a couple little balance changes here, but let's talk about the Dominion win condition because this is the big part of the game mode, and it's what is going to really change the way that players think about Age of Empires 4. So this is going to be the default game mode for FFA. Whenever you queue up for FFA in Quick Match, let's say, hey, John, let's go play some FFA in Quick Match, and you're going to get rid of these 2, and then click FFA, and you're going to do 2v2 because it's you and John, and you're going to go search for a game. The default, so you can't turn this off. It's just the way that it is. You will always have, I think I said a king before, a monarch is what I should have said. So you will always have a monarch. That is really, really important. So what your monarch does, so players start with a monarch that must be protected at all costs. Losing a monarch leads to the instant elimination of the owning player. Now, remember that in the early game, your monarch, now, I don't know exactly how they've balanced the monarch, but I'm pretty sure there's no attack for it. It does have a fair bit of health, but you still need to be careful with it. As an example, let's say that you've got your monarch on one side of the map and your villagers on the other side, and you build your town center down on the bottom side. You have to run your monarch across the map. You need to be really careful with that monarch because if you run into another player's town center, they can garrison the villagers inside that town center and they can take out the monarch. So you need to be really cognizant of that. Make sure you watch him as you make your way back towards it. On top of that, if someone eliminates your monarch or you eliminate somebody else's monarch, that's going to give you or them, the eliminator, let's probably say it that way, an extra 50 population. Now, this is really, really important and something that you have to be so aware of when you're playing these games. One of the most common things that we see from players in FFA is corner camping, and that's okay. Some people love to corner camp. I'm one of those players, right? I camp like it's Call of Duty. The problem is, if you camp in the corner, what's going to happen is other players around the map are going to start getting kills or eliminations on monarchs, and that means that their population increases. And one of the things that we've noticed that happens is that you don't just put that 50 population into your army, you put some of that into your economy as well. So all of a sudden, now that player has got an extra little bit of economy, an extra little bit of army, and that really starts to stack up, because when it gets to the late game, let's take a look and see, here we go. When it gets to the late game, it can make a really big difference because all of a sudden, let's say you've got 200 population, 100 of it is villages, 100 is military units, okay? And your opponent's got 250 population. And they put all of it into military. Now, all of a sudden, they've got 100 villages and 150 military units. And that means that you've got 100 versus 150. And you can see right there that that creates a bit of an issue because of the way that armies trade. There's a law called, I can't remember what the name of, Lanchester's Square. I'm not even kidding you. It's a real thing. Look it up. Google it. Oh, you know what? Look, I'm going to Google it right now. Lanchester's Square. It's a law. Did you mean Lanchester's laws? They're mathematical formulae for calculating the relative strength of military forces. The Lanchester's equation are differential equations describing the time dependence of two army strengths, A and B as a function, with the function depending only on A and B. And basically it just states the bigger an army is, the more quickly it kills the other army. And this is something that only really happens for ranged units, which is what he actually said. But basically the bigger your army is, the more easily it can dispose of your opponent's army, and subsequently it just means that you're going to have an easier time. So the point that I'm trying to make here is getting those early kills. Let's make sure we get that full screen back out. Getting kills along, or getting eliminations along the way, is a really important part of the game plan, because allowing yourself to get those eliminations means that you're going to have the extra population space to support a good economy. It's also going to mean that you've got the extra population space to support a bigger army. Now, keep in mind, only the winner of the game gets rating. So if you come second place, it doesn't matter. You're not going to get extra points for coming second. You don't get a participation medal other than losing rating. And you might not care about rating, and then that's absolutely okay. But just remember that when we were doing Outback Octagon, we were awarding points. Actually, I can't remember for number 2. I think we may have changed it for number 2. I think we awarded points for killing and points for first place, but not points for second and third. But anyway, you don't get any points for second. You don't get any points for third. So if you've played, say, TFT over on the League of Legends client, you would be familiar that like the top 4 get points, because that's kind of like that's a free-for-all as well, and the bottom 4 lose points, and it's depending on whether you are first as to how many points you get. But basically that system does not exist here. It is one person gaining points, 7 people losing points. But remember that it'll be like, let's say you lose 10 points, everybody's going to lose 10 points except for the guy who won, and he's going to collect those 10 points and then throw them at the top of his stack. So he's going to have 70 points won from that game. That's the way that it's going to work. Now, when it comes to your Monarch, there's 2 abilities that you're going to have access to. Temporarily sprint faster, or move faster, which is called Sprint. This is really important to keep your Monarch alive. You want to make sure that you've got this one just in the bag, just in case. I don't know whether there's going to be resource costs for this, but normally it's like a little bit of a food cost for Outback Octagon. For Treason, this is another ability that you've got where you can reveal the location of enemy Monarchs, and it pings them on the minimap. So this is important in the mid to late game when you're trying to locate maybe a kill, or maybe you're trying to enforce an elimination. A really important ability there. So we can see that your Monarch will be visible on the minimap with a crown icon, and that's just not your Monarch, that's all Monarchs. So similarly to the town center, so if we look down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see there's the capital town center, there's a couple of landmarks. The king or the Monarch will also have that symbol. Unfortunately, I think that when you've got it garrisoned, so here we know that the king is garrisoned, or the Monarch is garrisoned towards this top side, you're not going to be able to see it there. Though I'm curious if the devs have found a way around that. Hopefully that they have found a way around that, because that would be cool to see. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the general rules of FFA. With regard to content, so my plan is that we're going to be doing a tier list. That's not going to be in this video. That's going to be coming up soon. It's going to be an emergency tier list. Thank you. I'm going to be copying BCW. Just because the patch is about to drop, we need to get this tier list out to you guys so you know what the best civilizations are, who you should be taking out early in your games. These are really important decisions that you're going to make, and you're going to have to, if your opponent is playing the Abbasid dynasty, maybe you just want to leave them for a little bit. Whereas maybe if they're playing the Byzantines, well, maybe they should be a priority. Anyway, we're going to get to that in another video, so keep your eye out for it. Other than that, we'll leave it there, and we'll do another video which will be going over strategy for FFA, where we're going to be talking about what are the successful strategies that we saw in Outback Octagon, what are successful strategies that we've seen in FFA before, and what are the ways that you can look to secure your victory in FFA going forward in Season 7. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.